Smartphones are becoming more repairable, and here's why you should care. First of all, why is this happening? Well, a big part of the credit goes to places like the EU that have been passing tons of regulations to basically enable electronics to last longer. And companies like Nokia, who by the way just launched their first repairable 5G phone that's gonna have spare parts available through iFixit. Now, even if you are not interested in repairing your own device, tons of repair shops are gonna be able to benefit greatly from this, which in return will make it so you'll be able to get your devices repaired easier and cheaper. And even if you're still gonna be replacing your devices all the time, it's still nice to have options. Let me know for how long you've had your current smartphone in the comments. Welcome back to the channel. So for the past few months, I've been talking about various regulations that were being passed for smartphones and for electronics in general in places like the EU, Brazil, India, and so on. And it seems that we are already getting the fruits of their labor, essentially, because a lot of those regulations have already been passed, but they have not yet been put into effect because obviously you need to give manufacturers time to actually create devices and practices that comply with these regulations. So the new Nokia G42 5G is their first 5G repairable smartphone because obviously everyone just cares about 5G because the infrastructure is obviously available everywhere. So of course, that's very important. Also, unfortunately, it's a very budget device. Now, I don't really like budget smartphones. It's great that they exist. I'm just someone who's gonna buy a flagship, that's gonna buy a very overkill smartphone or a computer, but I'm just gonna have it for like a really long time because you could just end up saving money by just buying one device instead of two free and so on. Plus, at the very start, you are enjoying a completely overkill, super fast device. So that's just me. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the fact that all replacement parts will be available for 5 years via iFixit. So a few companies now are embracing iFixit, which I think is just fantastic because iFixit already has the supply chain to distribute all of these parts across the world. Because in the past, I, for instance, have tried to actually get spare parts, which I think this camera is one of the examples. I've tried to do it many times, but so you can see the screen issue right here. So it just bounces around. Now, it doesn't really bother me because I don't use this camera anymore. It's very old. But for instance, spare parts were available for this camera. They just didn't ship to where I'm located at. So yeah. Whereas I've bought many things from iFixit, like my battery that I have in my phone. Plus, it's just nice to have everything in like one central store place that can just ship you these parts instead of every single company having their own website where you can order these spare parts, because a lot of these companies that do offer spare parts already have like super outdated, very just bad websites. Now, they're going to be making the parts available for 5 years, which is pretty good, but also pretty bad at the same time. So the only thing that concerns me in this instance is the battery, because keeping a device for more than 5 years, obviously the battery is going to be the big issue. Plus, you're probably still after the 5 years going to be able to find some old parts for the display assembly and such things because they don't really age. However, if you find an old battery that's already like a few years old, that's still going to be a pretty shitty battery. Like, battery is really the only thing that you really want like fresh as in like straight off of the assembly line as soon as possible and into your phone. So 5 years, I would say, is perfectly fine, perfectly reasonable. You can stock up with any parts that you think you might need. But for the batteries, I know it's unrealistic, but I would just love to see batteries being supported for like a decade. I know that is asking for a lot. I know it doesn't make sense for most people. That's just something that I would freaking love. Moving on. So in theory, this will significantly extend the lifespan of the phone beyond the normal range. However, the Nokia G42, so this smartphone will only get 2 years of OS updates and 3 years of security updates, which from a programming point of view, I do get, because if you release like 10 devices every single year, then you need to keep supporting those devices for years. There's a lot of software that needs to be developed for those devices. So I get the fact that they're not going to be supporting it for like an extremely long time, but only 3 years of security updates is pretty low. Like honestly, the 2 years of OS updates, I would say I would be even fine with like just a year. It's just that these security updates would like be really nice to just have for an extremely long period of time. Plus, I think those are a lot simpler to do because you can just push them out to like many various devices. Whereas for the actual OS updates, you do need to make tweaks for these specific phone models. Now, they are doing this because the Nokia manufacturer says that with the research, people still just want to have phones for 2 to 3 years and then just switch. That is unfortunately really the case. Most people just switch to get the new phone. A lot of my friends, for instance, ask me like, hey man, when are you gonna get a new phone? And I'm just like, well, why do you have your new phone? And they try to like make up reasons. Oh, like I totally need to do that. But basically in the end, the conclusion is that they just got their new phone because they just want the status of having a new phone and because they just sort of bought into the marketing, right? Oh my God, better camera. Yeah, do you actually need it? No, you don't actually need a little bit faster processor. You don't need most of these things, but you just want them. And obviously these presentations and commercials for new devices just make the old ones seem like so completely outdated that they're not even usable. Whereas in a lot of cases, they are still totally fine. Now, another thing that you could do on Android is you could just flash over your already existing old Android OS that's not getting updates anymore with something different like Oxygen OS. But that, to my knowledge, doesn't support all smartphones. So if by any chance anybody knows about a general Android OS that you can just flash onto pretty much any phone, so now you have a very updated OS with security updates and such running on like an old phone. If anybody knows of such OS, because this is not really my area of things that I'm familiar with, if you would leave that down in the comments, I would be very appreciative of that. So to conclude, this is really cool. A lot of people are probably not gonna care about it, but I think this is really nice because this is news that is just like close to my heart, right? Like I still use my Samsung Galaxy S8, which I've had since launch, and it's a very old phone, and I don't even know how old it is. I've had it for a really long time. Galaxy S8. All right, so I'm Googling Galaxy S8 to see when it was released. April 24th, 2017. So there we go. Actually, I thought I had this for a little bit longer, maybe 2016, but I guess not. Oh well, just gotta keep going, I guess. But yeah, I mean, smartphones have just gotten to the point of being good enough a very long time ago. My phone, for example, is totally fine. Now, would I like it to be a little bit faster? Sure, that would be nice. Would I like it to have a little bit of a better camera? Yeah, I mean, I don't really like need it, but yeah, you know, that would be nice. But would I like to pay like $1,000 to get a new smartphone and to just throw away this totally fine device to the landfill? No, I don't really want to do that, just to get some minor conveniences. So let me know what you think about this down below, and if you have actually made it so far in the video, comment a broccoli emoji or just broccoli word in the comments, because I just want to see, is there anybody that actually watches like the full video? That would be just a little bit fun for me. Anyways, hopefully you have a nice day. Goodbye.